welcome to another edition of Newsmaker of the Week. I'm Leon Warden, and I'm pleased to welcome this week's Newsmaker, the director of the Santa Clarita Shakespeare Festival and the presenter, promoter, producer, I don't know, whatever, of the brand new, what you're calling the LA Summerfest.
At Rivendell.
At Rivendell.
Yeah.
Welcome, Dave
Thank you.
Steers.
It's a pleasure to be
Welcome
here.
back.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Been here, well,
Yeah,
it's been a little while now.
It's been a while.
So what's new? I mean, there are a lot of things that I want to talk to you about. Rivendell, I want to talk about arts in general, but just tell us what you want folks to know, the basics about this outdoor Shakespeare festival.
It's a rebranding of the Shakespeare Festival. LA Summerfest at Rivendell is the Shakespeare in the Park series with some friends joining us. It takes so much to put up a stage and lighting and sound. We use it a couple of times during the weekend. It seemed a waste not to invite other people to use it. Mm-hmm. So we put out the word, and we've got the SCV concert band, one of the oldest cultural institutions in our valley, out there doing a performance. We've got a wonderful jazz band coming up, and spare time. And then we've got a couple of a young theater organization out here called The Tribe, and they're doing hair.
Really?
They're doing hair.
That sounds interesting. I want to talk about that. But first, I was thinking that, you know, I mean, it almost seems absurd to think about this, but there are probably people out there who've never heard of Rivendell, or at least don't know where it is. Tell us.
Rivendell is the front part of Towsley Canyon.
Which is where?
Which is right off the old road. If you get off at Cal Grove, go down to the old road.
Cal Grove is a good reference point. I think
Cal
most
Grove
people
is
probably know where
people know where Cal
Grove
Grove is. I call it the gateway to our community because it's the first exit coming up the 5. Mm-hmm. And if you get off at Cal Grove and you go under the bridge and you go around the corner, Towsley Canyon is right there. And it's been there forever. About 25 years ago, the city bought the first 60 acres to block a dump that was going back into the Towsley Canyon. And they have owned the land for the last 25 years and haven't done anything with it. And there's a couple of abandoned buildings, some horse stalls that are back there. And we've been doing Shakespeare in the Park right in front of where the horse stalls are for the last 3 years. And this 4th year, we've decided, let's invite some people to join us. It's called Rivendell because that was the name of the ranch that was out there, the Rivendell Ranch. So we're at Rivendell.
Okay, we've established where it is. It's right off the old road.
Yeah.
It's not far from Cal Grove exit. And you're doing Shakespeare when?
We are doing Shakespeare in the Park Saturdays and Sundays. And then
all summer long?
For about 4 weeks. It's a short festival right now.
Okay.
It's we like I said, bring everything out there, rent lighting and sound and stage and storage containers and porta potties, and so we try to do a short and sweet festival, try to get as many people in as possible during that short time, and we hope to expand it.
And you're doing Henry IV.
We're doing Henry IV. Not a lot of people do it, but it's a wonderful
play. Can you give
play.
us a thumbnail sketch? I mean, you know, somebody just goes out and sees the festival for the first time and watches Shakespeare. I mean, I remember in high school, you know, I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't get it.
Yeah.
So can you give us a rundown of what
Absolutely.
Henry IV is about?
Henry IV, you know, I kind of see Henry IV as a very American play because it's about a king, a father, who's established a kingdom and he's having some trouble keeping it together. And he wants his son to kind of come into the family business and say, hell, help me out. And the son's off having a good time, drinking and carousing and sowing his oats with a band of friends. But when the time comes that he really needs his son steps up to the plate and comes back to the family and helps defeat the rebel forces. So that's the same story that gets played out in family-owned businesses, family-owned farms. You know, people go away to college, sow their oats, and they come back and join the family business.
Those wayward kids, getting them back into the, hoping that one day you can
Yes.
get them to come back into the family fold or get their stuff together.
It's a great story. People know Henry V, great king of England. And,
I know they know Henry VIII. I mean, we know.
People know Henry VIII. Cut off their heads.
Henry V, I'm a little.
Henry V is.
Well, let's not go there because we don't want to confuse.
Well, this is the beginning of Henry V.
Okay.
The young prince is eventually
He becomes
going to
Henry
become
V.
Henry V.
I guess that
yes.
makes sense.
So,
Okay.
yeah. It's a wonderful story about a father and a son and him growing to be the man that he should eventually be.
Now, who's the we? Are these professional actors? Are they?
We have professional actors. We have actors that are from CalArts. We have actors from COC. We have actors from local high school programs around the Valley. We have actors that are from the Valley, from Santa Monica, from around the state. We've got a broad range of actors.
And this is your 4th year at Rivendell.
This is our
and I
4th
know you were
year.
doing Shakespeare in the Park in the 90s anyway.
Yes.
You've been doing it for a while. So do you have people, do you have regulars? Do you have people who are in the plays year after year?
We have a lot of faces that people will recognize. Brent Christensen, who is an associate artist of the company, somebody who's been with the company for a long time, teaches at Hart. He's a regular at the Rep East Playhouse. He was made to play Falstaff, and he's playing the lead character, one of the lead characters, Falstaff. Doug Stewart is a face that people will recognize from work in the Valley and around town. Yeah, we've got a lot of people who keep coming back, which is wonderful. I think it says something about our company and the work that we do.
Right. Tell me a little bit about your background. I mean, this is not everything you do. You also have a day job.
I do
College
have
of
a
the
day
Canyons.
job. I work at College of the Canyons. I'm a proud member of the faculty at the theater department. I teach a lot of acting, some intro to theater. I'm the director of the New Works Festival, which is a fantastic program for writers and actors developing new work. And yeah, I do that during the day. And then I have 3 kids. So that's a job in itself.
And it's usually in one of the other capacities, not COC, that you've been on the show or been on this channel in general. And one of the things that you did in the past was you were the director of what's now known as the Repertory East Playhouse.
Santa Clarita Repertory Theater.
Yeah, it was as a Santa Clarita Repertory Theater, an independent playhouse in Newhall. And, we've been working for quite some time on trying to develop an arts district in Newhall. And, thinking about this, that's got to be pretty challenging because if we're part of Metro LA.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would imagine that that's got to be the biggest challenge to just show people that, hey, you can stay home and how challenging is that to draw an audience?
It's getting easier.
Is it?
I believe it's getting easier.
Because I don't find
I
that people
hope
are
that it's getting easier.
necessarily in tune anymore to what's going on in Santa. We try real hard. The radio and everybody else.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody trying to get people in tune with Santa Clarita, but it seems that I see that people are still, going south. Half of them go south. Half of them never get out of their neighborhood.
More and more, we're in the Santa Clarita Valley offering things to our community that they don't have to go outside of. The Rep East Playhouse, the guys that are down here, O and Mikey, are doing a bang-up job. They're doing outstanding work in that little theater, and people are coming up from the Valley to see that and participate in that. And the Canyon Theater Guild has got strong connections in the Valley for a long time, and they're bringing people together and families. The Performing Arts Center at COC, bringing some people that you can't see in the Valley, bringing comics and musical acts that are only presented up here at COC. It's growing. It's growing. Offering classical theater, offering classical music, it takes a lot. And most of these organizations are nonprofit organizations. So rather than competing with other arts organizations, one of the great things about our Valley is that we have a huge population that supports a lot of nonprofits. So as an arts organization, you're not just competing against arts organizations for participation and funding, but you're participating against wonderful and important organizations like the Boys and Girls Club
cancer and all sorts of things.
Cancer organizations and domestic violence, and our community participates in so much and supports so much that it's a juggling act, and people go here and then they go there and then they go here and then they go there.
But don't you see that, I mean, it seems to me that there's kind of like inner circle. Let's say in a community of, I don't know, Santa Clarita Valley, 280,000 people now. You know, let's say as much as 5% is dialed in to the stuff that's going on. You got any tricks for reaching that other 95% of the people out there and drawing them in?
You keep doing it. You keep doing it, and you keep reaching out. It's like my wife says about kids trying new food. It takes 12 times for a child to try that new food before they decide, I'm going to eat that. And you keep having to say, would you like some broccoli? Would you like some broccoli? Would you like to come out and see some Shakespeare? Would you like to come out and see some Shakespeare? Come out and get involved in the arts. Because if you give up, they're not going to say yes. So you have to keep going out there.
Does your organization expose kids to it in the school?
Yes, we have.
I know that some arts organizations do that. Is it
Absolutely. In fact, we have our program, which is the festival during the summer, and then during the year we are in the schools. We do Romeo and Juliet for the ninth graders, make it available for every ninth grader in the Valley, and we go directly to the schools and do that performance using Shakespeare's language and making a connection that's alive for them rather than just reading it and hopefully not falling asleep. And then we do some classical-based original work based on the classics that we adapt. So we have Scrooge's Long Night, which is about Scrooge and his journey to become a better person, which isn't focused just on Christmas, but on Scrooge and that journey, adapted from the Dickens tale. We have in the spring we have a bilingual tale of The Boy Who Cried Wolf. It's The Boy Who Cried Lobo, and they're both English and Spanish-speaking characters, and that's a classic tale that we've adapted to ourselves. And so we're not just focused on Shakespeare, but we're focused on the classics, classic storytelling, classic fairy tales, classic literature.
Don't you feed them their broccoli those 12 times? You're supposed
Absolutely,
to.
you have to, and whether it's a grown-up saying I'm not sure I like Shakespeare, or it's having a kid's experience for the first time the magic of theater in front of their eyes, you just have to keep reaching out and reaching out.
I always like to hear about how people impact kids when they're in school, because I'm in the local history, and the teachers here in the Santa Clarita Valley do a great job, and kids get exposed to Santa Clarita history when they're in the 3rd and 4th grade. And then we lose them until they're about 40 and have kids of their own who are in the 3rd or 4th grade. And if we could just make that connection, go on through.
Well, maybe you and I should consult on bringing a play to K through 6 about local history.
We should do that. That'd be fun.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, they did that
I
in
think that would be
Sulphur
great.
Springs, I think they did.
Yeah.
They did a play in Sulphur Springs District that was based on local history. And yeah, we should do that.
Let's
move on.
Okay.
We'll do that. No, I'm serious. We'll do that. But then Newhall. I want to talk a little bit about Newhall. What do you want to see happen? I mean, you've been around long enough to have an opinion about everything that's going on, and I'm sure you have some specific ideas for what you think would work in Newhall, arts-wise. I'm talking.
Wow, that's a great question. When I first opened the Repertory Theater, there was nothing down there. The Canyon Theater Guild opened a couple of months later, but there was. It wasn't as friendly and pretty place as it is now. I certainly would like to see an art gallery down there on a regular basis.
Visual art.
Visual art. I'd love to see a coffee house that is down here. Java and Jazz had a great thing going on Lyons Avenue. Remember when they used to do jazz on the weekends? That place was packed sometimes with jazz performances. I'd love to see something like that, a coffee shop or a little cafe that does live music down in downtown Newhall. I'd also love to see a performance space that is a shared performance space. A space where the Rep East Playhouse has their own season and the Canyon Theater Guild has their own season, and they both do a great job of opening their spaces when they can to other organizations. But I think one of the things that would be encouraging and nurturing to other arts organizations is a place where no one individual has to do an entire season.
Right.
So if you're a comic and you want to do one night or a series of 9 nights over the course of a year, or some place for the Latino population to come in and do performances or open mic nights or
You
something.
have a place to do that where somebody's not just going to take a lease out on a building because they're only doing a couple of shows.
Yeah, and some place that maybe that lease is shared by everyone who's participating in that.
Which is kind of, I guess, the idea behind the groups that are now using Real Life Church and others that are using that space over there by Tracy Harris in Newhall, where they've got Single Mothers Outreach.
They've
and
got
other things in there, and
they're really
pooling the
focusing
resources.
on community outreach and
service, different
community
kinds of community services under
different
one
types of
roof
community
where
services.
they
And
can
if there's
share.
some place like that for the arts that focus specifically on performance and for the arts and opens that up. So one day you may see a comic, and one day you may see some Latino poetry and music, and kind of mix it up and open that up to the community and to the arts organizations.
Which I guess, on one level anyway, just to bring this back around, is kind of what your idea is with LA Summerfest. And I know that there's a little bit of politics involved right now with Rivendell, and I want to talk about that when we come back from a quick break.
Excellent.
Hi, I am Cesar Milan with Junior. In Santa Clarita, we love our dogs. And in our role as pack leaders, it is important that we do everything to keep our pets safe and healthy. This is why it is so important to license your dog through Los Angeles County Animal Control. Licensing your dog will make it possible for them to be returned to you in case they get lost or stolen. You will also get important reminders when your dogs are due for vaccination. Show your dog you care and license them today.
Santa Clarita is Southern California's entertainment destination. Just minutes from LA, Santa Clarita's year-round weather means you can enjoy year-round fun. Like thrilling coasters and water parks, premium shopping, destination day spas, fine dining, outdoor adventure, and major events such as wine festivals, golf tournaments, and the Cowboy Festival. Santa Clarita, always in season.
Welcome back. We're here with Dave Steers from COC and from the Santa Clarita Outdoor Shakespeare Festival and from the new LA Summerfest. And that's what I want to talk about. You are bringing other groups, other different kinds of performance groups into your fold that you've established out at Rivendell, and to kind of, I guess, open it up to other groups and get other people interested in the Rivendell property, because right now the city's going through a planning process for the Rivendell property. And just to be clear, you're not with the city.
I'm not with the city, although they do offer a lot of support for the festival.
Right. But as a user of the space,
Yes.
why don't you just give us a quick thumbnail of what's going on with the property?
The city had the property for a long time and didn't do anything with it. When we decided that we wanted to have the festival there and we filled in the gopher holes and knocked down the weeds, people started to have an interest in it. And the city developed a master plan process, which they do very well. Most of the city facilities out here are master planned somehow. And they brought a lot of different voices there and decided, what do we want to see with this space? And they developed a wonderful plan that's got open park space. They've got the possibility of an amphitheater. They added 2.5 miles of new trails up on the north mountains, some trails for elderly and younger people who may not be able to transverse the harder trails.
Because there's a lot of hiking that goes on.
There's a lot of
in
hiking.
Townsley.
There's a lot of hiking, and they've developed a plan that is hiker-friendly, park-friendly, community-friendly, and arts-friendly. And I think it's a wonderful plan.
And that's going through the process.
It's been,
Where is that in the process?
they spent a good chunk of change to get a consultant in and get these different groups and open it up to the public. It's been approved by the Parks Commission.
Oh, it has?
It's been approved by the Parks
okay.
Commission, and will
And
eventually.
that's the map that you showed me earlier.
That's the map that I'm toting out at the
That's the
at
one
the festival.
that.
Yes.
So the Parks Commission has approved that.
That's
iteration
the plan.
of it, okay.
Yes. Nothing specifically has been designed, but that's the overall concept plan.
You got to have a plan before you can go.
Absolutely.
Look for grants to actually build the thing.
Yes.
So.
Plan
That's been
first,
done.
specific design after. Somewhere before that will be environmental impact. Although the city's done a lot of that pre-work already. So it eventually go to council, get approved, and then continue
And
to
that
move
map
forward.
shows an amphitheater. Actually, I guess, is that 2 amphitheaters on
One
there?
amphitheater. It's one amphitheater. It's the concept is mixed seating, so that there's a stage area, band shell type place, and then some fixed seating in the front, and then grass seating in the back.
And all the current structures that are on the property, the ones from '74 that were abandoned after certainly after
earthquake.
the '94 earthquake,
Yeah.
those all come down.
Those have to come down because those are red tagged. The building that you see when you first come in, I think it's 2 inches off its foundation.
Right.
So there's really no way to
And
save
all the
those.
buildings, I mean, when you drive in, the big building that's right there, and then also the one off to
The one
left.
off to the side to it, and
Yeah, and
the
stables.
stables.
Right.
Up further into the canyon, there's a house and a guest house that are fine and part of the Santa Monica
Well, yeah,
Conservancy.
that's conservancy land.
Yes,
not,
it is
not
conservancy,
city land,
not
and-
city
and-
land. So those structures that are there will come down. And one of the wonderful things about the plan is that what they're talking about building is only on land that has been disturbed. We're not talking about going in and they're not talking about going in and building anything on land that's pristine or further up into the canyon that's sensitive. It's all been disturbed and part of that original ranch that was built there back in the 70s.
And of course, this property is city park property. It's open to all, daylight hours.
Absolutely.
And since there was not a master plan previously, or like right now, how is it that you came to use the property on a recurring, regular basis? Did you just go out there, pitch your tent, and here we are? Or did
No. No. I used to, when we did the Shakespeare in the Park a long time ago, bring things from park to park to park to park, which means loading up the trucks at 8 o'clock in the morning, setting up things at 10 o'clock, doing a rehearsal at 12 o'clock, doing a performance at 5:30. That's a very long, hot day. That's a younger man's sport. When I decided to come back to the Shakespeare and start the festival, restart the festival, I thought we need a place. And 20 years ago, when the city bought the land, Rick Putnam and I walked the space and said, what would this be like if it was an amphitheater?
Probably first Parks Director.
First Parks and Recreation Director. And I went to the city and said, I'd like to do our festival there. And they said, let's walk out and see and talk to the Santa Monica people, and made arrangements. So we're on a special events permit to be out there. And
From the city or from the conservancy?
from the city.
From the city.
From the city. And it's been a great process.
And I imagine part of the, well, you tell me what the rationale is, but what's the rationale behind bringing in other groups to use the property? I mean, I would imagine that part of that is, showing people, hey, look what this could be if you go with my vision for the thing, or
Part of it is, hey, look what this can be. That this is a wonderful place to have a performance area. We don't have anything like that out here. LA's got the Ford. They also have the Starlight Theater in Burbank. It would be a wonderful place for local organizations and regional organizations to come up, do a concert or performance.
do you envision hopefully maybe one day getting a contract to manage the space and the things that go on there, or that sort of thing? Or?
I don't know. We're taking it one step at a time. It's wonderful to be out there during the summer. I'd love to build the Summerfest for our community and see where it goes. Right now, the city does a great concerts in the Park Series. Most of those performances are tribute bands. There's not really a place for that in that arena for the concert band or for a small theater company or.
You're going to focus
do
on
a
original
musical.
stuff, because here at SCV TV, we do shows where we feature original, local bands doing original stuff. And so is that going to be your focus out there when you bring in groups?
I think mostly
no cover bands and that sort of thing?
Probably not cover bands, but mostly local organizations. If there's, maybe get the master chorale out, maybe symphony or chamber orchestra, maybe get one of your performances.
Bach or somebody like that, I guess that's okay.
Maybe get one of your performances.
If you want to cover Shakespeare, you can do that. That's okay.
Get one of your performances out there and do a live broadcast of it out in Rivendell.
That'd be fun.
Shoot it live.
We're out of time, so why don't you just give us the 15-second sketch of what you want to leave people with and tell us about the Shakespeare Festival.
Come out to the Shakespeare Festival out in Rivendell. You can find out all the program information at www.lasummerfest.org. And we've got a schedule, and you can donate and find directions. And come on out, bring a blanket, bring a chair, bring the family and a picnic. It's a great time under the stars.
Very good. David Steers, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for joining us. Missed any portion of this program, you can see it again and again on scvtv.com. Check back here at Time Warner Cable Channel 20, AT&T Uverse 99, Sunday 8:30 a.m., Thursday 9 p.m. for another Newsmaker of the Week.